3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie, 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I am going over chapters 2 through 5 of the Lord of the Rings book as I refuse to watch the Power of the Rings show on Amazon Prime until I have finished this book. So let's begin with chapter 2. I have my notes here. So years had passed since Frodo has seen Gandalf the Wizard. So Frodo actually thought that Gandalf was never coming back. And remember that Bilbo had left everything to Frodo, and he was noticing during that time that Gandalf was gone over those 9 years that elves were beginning to leave Middle-earth. Not only elves, but also dwarfs were beginning to migrate, so to speak, or whatever. He was hearing about whispers from the enemy and of the land of Mordor. And we learn about orcs and trolls in chapter 2 as well. Meanwhile, Frodo was also throwing an annual birthday party for Bilbo. Like, he really misses Bilbo. Sam talks to other hobbits about strange things that he's been seeing and noticing, like giant trees walking around, and nobody's listening to Sam. They're all like laughing at him. Also, Gandalf finally reappears in chapter 2. And when Gandalf reappears, he explains to Frodo about just how dangerous this ring is. So he kind of talks about how the ring came to be and what happens to those who possess the ring. But he also mentions how hobbits kind of seem to show more resistance to the ring than anybody else might. Like the men, regular mortal men, they fall to the ring's evil powers very quickly, but hobbits are slower to fall to the craziness of this ring. And he confirms to Frodo that this is in fact a very evil ring by throwing the ring into the fire. And that's where you see this old Elvish English language, and it says that little ring speech, that spiel that I did at the beginning of this video. It goes over that. So you learn about a little bit about Sauron the Great, the Dark Lord, and details on how Gollum found the ring. And you hear about Smeagol and everything. And in the Lord of the Rings film, you don't hear that story about Smeagol and how he murdered Dagal until you get to the second movie, The Two Towers. But it's actually in chapter 2 in the book, so I found that to be interesting. In chapter 2, we also learn about how the enemy got a hold of Gollum and was able to get the name Bilbo Baggins out of him. And so now the enemy knows that the ring is located with the hobbits. And so now that they probably realize that Bilbo Baggins is no longer around, they understand that Frodo is the heir, and so they're kind of starting to go after Frodo. So Gandalf tells Frodo that nobody can destroy this ring. The only way to destroy it is to throw it into the cracks of doom, which is in the depths of Orodruin, the Fire Mountain. And Sam is found out to be eavesdropping on all of this while Gandalf is talking to Frodo. And as a result, it gets decided that Sam, one of the other hobbits who's like grown up with Frodo, is also going to go on this journey to destroy the ring. So that is chapter 2. So I want to comment also in chapter 2 that Pippin and Merry get mentioned, and they are like best friends with Frodo. And I felt like in the film, I didn't know that they were best friends for so many years. So I feel like this chapter really sets off for Frodo why he needs to go on this crazy journey, how important it is to destroy this ring. And I felt like the moral of this chapter is that life's challenges are always better faced with help from a friend. And you really get that feeling and that sense because it is such a burden. And I feel like the movie talked about that burden of the ring, but it's a lot nicer to share burdens in life with friends. So that is the moral of chapter 2. Okay, so now let's go over chapter 3. What motivates Frodo the most to leave the Shire is the idea of seeing Bilbo again. Because remember in chapter 1, I really realized how much Frodo loved Bilbo Baggins. And again, I didn't get that from the movie, but they kind of go over that in chapter 1. And so he's also relishing this summer at the Shire. So he's in no like mad dash rush to leave. I don't understand why Gandalf isn't pushing Frodo to leave faster. Like they're just spending the summer chilling there. Like this seems like a matter of, you know, maybe you get like a couple days at most, but a whole summer, whatever. So they decide that Rivendell is where they need to go first, which makes Sam very glad because one of the things he really wanted was to meet these elves. That's like a big deal for him. Yeah, so Frodo essentially leaves everything behind and he pretends to move eastward, and Sam and Frodo begin the walk to go that way, but Pippin also comes along. Remember Pippin? Another thing that kind of stuck out to me is that Frodo's quite a leader, and in the film, I don't remember Frodo being so outspoken. I don't know, he's kind of a stronger character in the book in my mind. I don't know. What did you think? Did you get that compared to the movie? Chapter 3 also gets really freaky because while they're on the road, they see a horse with a black rider, and he's super creepy looking. He's got like a cloak. If you've seen the movie, you know what the black riders look like. They're sniffing the air. It's really creepy. All right, cousin Frodo. You can keep your secret for the present if you want to be mysterious. In the meanwhile, what are we to do? I, for one, should like a bite and a sup. But somehow I think we had better move on from here. Your talk of sniffing riders and invisible noses has unsettled me. And it's not just one rider that you see, it's more than one rider. There are several times in this chapter where they see these black riders and they're so creepy. But they add a lot of thrill and excitement to the book. Like, it's not in a creepy way where I can't sleep at night, but it's exciting like in the book. At one point, you hear elves singing in the forest, and the singing and the song from the elves actually scares away one of the black riders, and they give you some rest and relief, because I feel like my heart wouldn't have been able to take it had these elves not come and saved the day, so to speak. And the chapter kind of finishes out with the elves and the hobbits hanging out together. There's a point where Frodo says, "But where shall I go to find courage?" I love what Gildor's reply was. He was like, "Courage is found in unlikely places. Be of good hope." For me, chapter 3 was special because you really realize that Frodo is not alone. He's got the backing of the elves. They let him know, yo, we've got your back, homeboy, we've got your back. So chapter 4, they awoke the next morning after hanging out with the elves all night. They decided to go through the woods instead of going on like the main road that takes Frodo to the East Shire, part of the Shire. Yeah, and as they're walking along, Sam gives a spiel on like how he wants to stay with Frodo. "If you don't come back, sir, then I shan't. That's certain." "Don't you leave him," they said to me. "Leave him? I never mean to. I'm going with him if he climbs to the moon. And if any of those black riders try to stop him, they'll have some Gamgee to reckon with, I said. They laughed. And in the middle of the thicket, they like see another Black Rider. It's like Black Rider mania in the beginning. So they also happened to reach Farmer Maggot, who is briefly seen in the film, but you don't really get to know him. And I kind of felt like they played him like a scaredy cat in the film. Farmer Maggot himself was not so scared of the Black Rider. But yeah, there's like a Black Rider that goes to Farmer Maggot asking for Frodo, and he tells him to get away or whatever. And also there's like history of Farmer Maggot and how Frodo used to steal his mushrooms, hence the title, Shortcut to Mushrooms. They all end up having dinner with Farmer Maggot, so you hear about that. And he helped drive them to a ferry to cross this, I guess, river. And they find Merry, the other Hobbit best friend of Frodo. And there's more like scary Black Rider stuff. I kind of feel like this chapter got cut out for time's sake in the film. But I felt like what this chapter did was compliment that there are good hobbits that are not only brave against Dark Riders, because Farmer Maggot, he really kind of shows courage and bravery to stand up against the Black Riders in that chapter. Chapter 5, they get across the little ferry boat river thing, and they get to Frodo's new home in the east, which he's not going to be able to stay at because he's on the run. Which, by the way, another Black Rider is like, they see him on the other side of like the river, or for some reason these Black Riders don't like cross over water or something. I don't know. It's funky, but it's really creepy. Wherever he goes, he's like in this constant state of panic. You never know when a Black Rider is going to appear, is kind of how it feels. Just like the title for chapter 5 is A Conspiracy Unmasked, Merry and Pippin's conspiracy theory was unmasked, and they not only know he's leaving, but that they're coming with him, and that they've known about it for a long time, that he was planning to leave. Of course we understand. That's why we have decided to come. We know the ring is no laughing matter, but we are going to do our best to help you against the enemy. The ring. Yes, the ring. My dear old Hobbit, you don't allow for the inquisitiveness of friends. I have known about the existence of the ring for years, before Bilbo went away, in fact. But since he obviously regarded it as a secret, I kept the knowledge in my head until we formed our conspiracy. This chapter again proves to me that they are way better in the book, that I am definitely gonna be enjoying the book as I thought I would, much better than the film. And it also turns out that Sam was a partner in the conspiracy of Merry and Pippin also knowing about Frodo planning to leave. And in the film, again, it just doesn't seem like Merry and Pippin, they just like happen. It's like an accident that they end up going with Frodo. No, in the book, they are all, Sam and Pippin and Merry, they're all like planning to go with Frodo. They are very courageous and much better spoken and not as dim-witted as I remember them to be in the film. So, I mean, I don't know if that will change in the book as I go along, but those are my impressions. They not only know that they are probably or maybe won't survive this journey, they are willing to go and die for their friend, essentially. So this is a tight union. I feel like that is no small thing. That ain't no small thing, is all I'm saying. So I will continue to be discussing The Lord of the Rings because it is my current obsession, and I hope that if you haven't read the book, definitely check it out. Subscribe to my channel, like this video if you like it, share it with friends, all that good stuff, rewatch it, whatever. Rewatch, share, click, all that, comment, all that good stuff. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye.